Chapter 3. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped. They rushed to the spot where the door had been, their hands pressing against the cold, unyielding surface of the wall. It was as if the mansion itself was sealing them in, refusing to let them leave. "No, no, no," Tessa muttered, her voice rising in pitch as she pounded on the wall with her fists. "This can't be happening. We have to find another way out." Emma's eyes darted around the room, her mind racing. "What about the windows? We can break one and climb out." But as they turned their attention to the windows, they saw that they too had changed. The glass, once brittle and cracked, now appeared as solid as stone, impossible to shatter. The oppressive atmosphere of the mansion seemed to close in around them, and they could feel the malevolent presence growing stronger. It was as if the house itself was alive, feeding off their fear and tightening its grip on them with each passing moment. Ryan, ever the thinker, tried to keep a level head. There has to be another way out. Maybe a secret passage or a door we haven't found yet. We just have to stay calm and keep looking. Tessa nodded, though her hands were still trembling. "Okay, we'll search the mansion from top to bottom if we have to. But we're getting out of here." They split up again, this time with a renewed sense of urgency. Each of them was determined to find an exit, but the mansion seemed to conspire against them at every turn. The corridors twisted and changed, leading them in circles or ending in dead ends that hadn't been there before. Doors that should have led to familiar rooms now opened onto empty voids or long, dark hallways that seemed to stretch on forever. As they explored, the mansion's malevolent presence grew bolder. The whispers in the walls became louder, the shadows longer and more menacing. Apparitions flickered at the edge of their vision, vanishing when they tried to focus on them. The temperature dropped further, their breath misting in the cold air, and they could feel the weight of unseen eyes watching their every move. In one of the upper hallways, Emma stumbled upon a door that she hadn't noticed before. It was small and unassuming, tucked away in a corner as if it didn't want to be found. She hesitated for a moment, but her desperation to find an escape overpowered her fear. She opened the door and found herself in a small, dimly lit room. The room was empty, save for a single chair in the center, facing a large, cracked mirror that dominated the far wall. The sight of the mirror sent a jolt of fear through Emma, reminding her of the distorted reflections she and Ryan had seen earlier. But something about this mirror was different, almost as if it was calling to her. Against her better judgment, Emma stepped inside, drawn toward the mirror. She could see her reflection, but it was faint, as if she was looking at herself through a layer of mist. As she moved closer, the reflection began to change, shifting and warping until it wasn't her own face staring back at her anymore. The figure in the mirror was a woman, her face gaunt and pale, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through Emma's soul. The woman's lips moved, forming words that Emma couldn't hear, but she could feel them in her mind, like a whispering echo. "Help me," the woman mouthed, her voice barely more than a breath in Emma's ear. "Please help me." Emma took a step back, her heart racing. Who are you?" The woman's expression twisted into one of despair and fear. "I'm trapped, just like you. You must find the key. The key to escape." Before Emma could ask more, the woman's image began to fade, replaced by a dark, shadowy figure that loomed behind her. The figure reached out with long, skeletal fingers, and Emma could feel the cold touch of death closing in around her. With a gasp, Emma stumbled backward, breaking the connection with the mirror. The room around her seemed to darken, and she could feel the presence growing stronger, as if the figure in the mirror was trying to pull her into its grasp. She turned and fled the room, slamming the door behind her. Her breath came in ragged gasps as she leaned against the wall, trying to calm her racing heart. The mansion was playing with them, twisting reality to suit its own dark desires. But she couldn't give in to the fear, not now. Emma knew she had to find the others, to warn them about what she had seen. But as she made her way back to the entrance hall, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being followed, that the shadows were closing in around her, ready to claim her if she let her guard down for even a moment. Meanwhile, Tessa had made her way to the mansion's attic. The narrow staircase leading up to it creaked under her weight, and the air grew thick with dust as she ascended. The attic door was heavy and old, the wood warped and cracked, but she managed to push it open, revealing the dark, cavernous space beyond. The attic was filled with old furniture, covered in dusty sheets, and crates stacked high against the walls. The only light came from a small, round window at the far end, casting long shadows that danced across the floor as Tessa moved through the space. She had a feeling that something important was hidden up here, something that might help them escape. She began to search the attic, lifting sheets and opening crates, but all she found were old, forgotten relics of a bygone-era broken toys, yellowed photographs, and clothes that had long since fallen out of fashion. But as she neared the window, Tessa spotted something different. A small, ornate box, tucked away in the corner, almost hidden beneath a pile of old books. She knelt down and carefully lifted the box, dusting off the thick layer of grime that had accumulated on its surface. The box was intricately carved, with patterns that seemed to swirl and shift as she turned it in her hands. It felt oddly warm to the touch, a stark contrast to the cold, musty air of the attic. Tessa hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding in her chest. Every instinct told her that opening the box would reveal something significant, but there was also a deep, primal fear gnawing at the back of her mind. Despite the unease, she couldn't ignore the possibility that this box might hold the key to their escape. With a deep breath, Tessa carefully lifted the lid of the box. Inside, nestled in a bed of black velvet, was an old, tarnished key. It was large and heavy, made of a metal that had long since lost its luster. The key seemed to hum with a faint energy, sending a tingling sensation up Tessa's arm as she picked it up.